Arriviant super duper toute nude, tu veux t'énerver Luca. Do it anti-black, do the smoke to some old shows, something dope, black shoes. Gros biquette à ma tante, all night dans sa cour. Arriviant super duper.
Hey, welcome back to Flying Triangle Radio. My name is Ben Fearson. As always, the show is presented by Torgy's Live down in beautiful Austin, Minnesota, inside the Holiday Inn there. Our great site sponsors here at Minnesota, MNMMANEWS.com. Always got to give a shout out to those guys. So, well, I figured we'd try something a little bit different this time. We're coming off of Caged Chaos 6 Saturday night at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. Amazing new venue was debuted last night, and the house was packed. We had over 2,000 people there, probably closer to 2,500. Should have a final count on that at some point this week, but beautiful venue, beautiful show, good fights. Just a fun night all around. Literally so fun that I drove an hour and a half to get there, even though I'd been at wrestling for about 30 hours this weekend. So it was worth the drive, though. You know, there were a lot of fights that I wanted to see. But like I said, I figured we'd try something a little bit different. I didn't get to see every fight last night, so I didn't want to write up a true story. Not comfortable writing about fights that I didn't see, but wanted to check, I wanted to get something out there, and I figured this would be a great format now that I bought the podcast equipment, and I do intend to expand this project and make it a regular feature here on MinnesotaMMANews.com. But I'm gonna rip through results. I'm gonna kind of talk about the fights that happened last night and give you my thoughts on the ones that I did see. Like I said, I missed a few fights because I was still at wrestling, but I did get to see the bulk of the card. So, and I figure I'll hand out the awards here on the show that I normally put on the site. Like I said, little uncomfortable giving out awards when I didn't see every single fight. Honestly, one award that I'm probably not going to hand out is Fight of the Night because I didn't get to see the first few fights. And honestly, nothing... there were a lot of awesome finishes last night, but not many that went the distance that were super exciting and went the distance. I think, the closest one that I would say would be Otis Hamilton, and I believe that won Fight of the Night there on site. So if I was giving out a Fight of the Night, it'd be Otis Hamilton and Alex Wiggs. Alex Wiggs taking that 155-pound driller amateur title. But we'll get to that later. So I'm going to start at the beginning of the card and just kind of rip through results. Sam Nelson was a quick winner over Dale Walters by knockout 21 seconds of the first round. It's good to see Sam get back in there and get back to training and get going. Unfortunately, we still don't get to see Dale Walters win. Someday it's going to happen. I promise Dale isn't as bad as his record, but quick night for him. Then at 205 pounds, Eric Diaz took out Richard Whitman by TKO in the first round. Didn't get to see that one. I'm disappointed because I know Jeremy has high hopes for Eric Diaz, so I'm excited to see him fight, and he's going to be a very active fighter here over the next few months for us. So I think with the lack of quality 205-pounders in this state, Eric Diaz is a guy to watch right away. Then the next fight, I know there was a little bit of controversy. I should say right off the bat that the refs had a very rough time last night. Bad night for the refs. Just all around, and it kind of started with this fight. It sounds like I said I did not see this fight, so this is secondhand information from coaches on both sides. But Fikret Sarek did beat Arwan Kampa by submission due to strikes 226 into the second round. Sounds like Kampa tried to submit multiple times, and the ref didn't see it. Fikret stopped a couple times because he heard his opponent say he was done. The ref didn't stop it, so he restarted hitting him again, and finally there was a stoppage. But either way, it's a good win for Fikret on a guy in camp who has a good record, and he was coming off a good performance down in Austin. So, and then Sam Hernandez took out Steve Moore by submission due to guillotine in the second round. Didn't get to see that one, so can't say too much on it, but a good win for Sam. Sam, when Sam's going, he is awfully tough to beat. He's stuck with the top guys when he's fighting well. So, and then at 135, Sam Comm took out Colin Connery by split decision. Sounds like that one was an absolute war. And this is part of the reason I didn't want to give out Fight of the Night here at Minnesota MMA News, because I didn't get to see that one. So from everybody I talked to, it was a good fight, good even matchup between two 135ers, and Sam Comm's really coming on. I know he's training hard and working out all the time, and Colin Connery's a fun guy to watch, and I know Colin, he's expressed some frustration just not getting the wins like he wants to, but, Colin is a talented fighter, and if he sticks with it and keeps working hard, he's going to be just fine. This is what amateur fighting is for, is getting these things out of the way, and, the day you turn pro, it just goes away. So, moving on, 185, Alton Cunningham took out Tom Krenzel by TKO in the second round. Again, another one. That was the last fight I didn't get to see, but it sounds like Cunningham is the real deal. I know I've heard a lot about him as a prospect, and it sounded like the first round was a war. I wish I would have been there to see that one, but good win for Alton Cunningham over always game Tom Krenzel, and a very experienced fighter in Tom Krenzel. Then next up at 170, we had C.T. Bailey taking out Juan Pablo Hernandez. That was another one that I was very looking forward to seeing. It was one that I walked in the building as it was about to start. I think that's the first one where I jumped on the mic there, cage side. So C.T. always been a monster. I've always kind of waited for him to take that next step, and I feel like he really did that. He's training at the academy now, still as strong as ever, still a great wrestler, very calm in there. He looked really good last night. I thought that was the best performance I've seen him put in the cage. I know he's done well outside of Minnesota too, but that's the best I've ever personally seen CT fight, and I think that's one that definitely can propel him to that next level. And I don't know that 170 is where he's going to stay. If he's at 155, boy, is he going to wreck some dudes at 155. So another guy to watch out for, CT Bailey, definitely. Then at 130 catchweight, Mark Gomez took out Richard Welch by unanimous decision, 29-28 on all three judges' scorecards. It wasn't a clean fight, but it was a perfect fight. It was Welch first time getting in there. Gomez is just a warrior for us, but it was a very evenly matched fight. They were perfect for each other. Two guys, just kind of starting out in the career and getting a feel for the cage. But Gomez just kept landing bombs on Welch, and they kept bothering Welch, but he still survived and made it the distance. So good even fight. Then we had our first title fight of the night, Melvin Cruz. Again, another guy that I've been watching for years and years and years, and I keep waiting for him to take that next step, and I feel like he did, because he took out a very good opponent in Mitch Rosted out of Michigan. It was a TKO in the fourth round, early on in the fourth round, I think 32 seconds in there. It was, like I said, it was, I thought, Melvin's best performance to date, just a complete performance. Kind of interesting, Melvin, we always think of Melvin Cruz as a kickboxer, and last night, Saturday night, he was a wrestler. He took down Mitch Rosted at will, and I don't think Mitch saw that coming. Mitch was a very good striker, a very long striker. His left jab was vicious, and he did find a home for that a few times. I think Melvin executed a perfect game plan against a much taller fighter, and like I said, a very dangerous striker in Mitch Rosted. But no shame in Mitch. I would love to have him back here. Again, another weight class where it gets thinned out after the top at 185. So I think Mitch Rosted's a guy we'd love to have back on our shows here in Minnesota. Then we kind of kicked off the pro portion of the card with Ben Newman taking on Jeremiah Deaver. Deaver, I'd heard great things. He seemed to want to make it a kickboxing match and was just trying to load up on this kick, and it was telegraphed and it was never there. So Newman just kind of, had his way with him, and he was able to eventually get it on the ground, and that's not where you want to be with Ben Newman. Newman looked slick, and he got the submission due to strikes, 103 into the second round. Good performance with Ben Newman making his debut at 170, where he wants that to be his permanent home now, and I think he looked fine. I don't see a lot of guys throwing Ben Newman around at 170, so I think it'll work out for him at that weight. And like I said, he's not a guy you mess around with on the ground, and Deaver seemed too willing, in my opinion, to go to the ground with him. Next up, 205, Matt Larson took out Jason Miller very quickly. TKO, 107 in the first round. Matt looked awesome. Matt's lost a ton of weight, and he just looks great. I really pray he sticks with it, because, like I said, he looked amazing last night, and I think 205, he looked awesome. I think, there's the potential for him to go down to 185, and he's going to be a monster at that weight. Great guy, just an asset to the promotion. So glad to have him on the show. Glad to see him get a big win. Jason Miller is better than he showed last night. So it really was a good win for Matt Larson, one of the better wins of his career. So, and then another one, we had a couple of old school MMA just fans' delight, basically. Nate Jennerman taking on Ty Ferguson, a couple guys who've been around forever. A couple guys who didn't always take the sport as seriously as they probably should have, now taking it very seriously. Ty Ferguson had been on a huge roll, but Nate Jennerman looked incredible. That's the best I've ever seen Nate Jennerman on Saturday night, and he just, it was a quick fight. He got Ty in a guillotine, 124 into the first round. Really committed to it standing. I was surprised Ty didn't go out standing up, but as soon as Nate got it all the way under the chin, the fight was over immediately. Like I said, the end came 124 into the first round. I think Nate Jennerman, like I said, now that he's training at Rufus Sport, he looks legit. I think he's a guy that was overlooked for years and was, I don't know. I just really think he has potential at 145 to stick with some of the top guys now. So it was a good win for him. Hopefully Ty, bounces back quick. I think he will. Like I said, he'd been on a little bit of a roll, and this will be a little bit of a setback, but I'm sure we'll see Ty in there again soon. Next up, we had a 125 fight that went the distance. Jason Huntley outlasted RJ Sprague. Unanimous decision for Mr. Huntley out of the academy. 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. Not sure which judge was silly enough to give Huntley all three. I thought Sprague won the last round. Sprague landed a crazy knee. They were kind of the fighters were on the ground, and it was in an inverted position, and he hit a knee up behind over his head into Huntley's chest that hurt him bad. You could tell. I got to give Huntley credit, though. He went straight survival mode. I'll be interested to hear if he did break a rib, but you could tell the knee definitely hurt him. I don't know that RJ Sprague realized how bad it hurt him, because he didn't seem to crank it up and push the pace like he probably should have over the last portion of that fight. Maybe could have gotten a finish, but like I said, I give Huntley a lot of credit for digging deep and sticking it out and doing exactly what he had to do to survive in that third round. So good pro win for Jason Huntley. Next up, we had Nate Howe versus Rick Jackson. Again, that for me, as a guy who's been covering this sport since early in 2000, this is one of the fights I was most looking forward to seeing, because these two guys have been around since the early days of MMA. They trained together at one point, and this fight took place. For anyone who came up early with these guys, you'd say, how on earth did Nate Howe fight Rick Jackson weight-wise? Because Nate used to be a big man. He was a heavyweight. Now, this fight took place at 160. Nate Howe's never looked better physically, and I know he's on his way to 55, and it won't be a problem because he was underweight for this fight. So I think Nate Howe, he looks as strong as he's ever looked, truthfully. I mean, like I said, for a guy who used to weigh, pushing 300 pounds, for him to look as strong as he does, that's a credit to horsepower, and Nate's now training over at the academy. Nate always been an incredible jiu-jitsu guy, and we got to see him show that off. Rick Jackson came out like hellfire, pushing the pace early, looked great early, but when you push the pace and take the fight to the ground against Nate Howe, that's not the battle you want to fight with Nate Howe, and very quickly threw up the armbar, tightened it up, and it was over quick. I believe Rick dislocated his elbow. Like I said, 54 seconds in, he got, the tap came, and that elbow was destroyed in 54 seconds. So, great performance by Nate Howe. I'm pumped to see that dude at 155, and I'm pumped to see him, see how far he can take this career. For us older guys, it's great to see a guy like Nate still with it and in the best shape of his life and still doing it big. So, congrats to Nate. Good win for Nate. That is my submission, and I guess I haven't said any awards. Maybe I'll say them all at the end, but that will be my submission of the night for sure. Next up, 145 amateur title, Brian Mortensen versus Carter Holthusen. Brian Mortensen, to me, was the amateur performance of the night. I'm giving him my Amateur Fighter of the Night award. Bimo Dallas, Brian has always had the talent to be an elite fighter. He just wasn't always a great human being, and I think he's getting that side of it down now too. He showed great sportsmanship, and as far as fighting performance, he was incredible. The first round, I don't think he quite found his groove, but I think he realized he was a lot stronger than Carter, and that allowed him to just stuff Carter's shots over and over again. Carter's fast enough and changes levels well enough that he was able to get in on the legs of Mortensen, but Mortensen was strong enough and slick enough with his sprawl and just getting that whizzer in there and just powering through those takedown attempts. So first round, Mortensen didn't. I think he kind of found his groove right at the end of the round, but started landing that right hand. I think second round was absolute domination by Mortensen, just landing the right hand over and over. Carter kept throwing this kick that I don't know what he was thinking, why he kept throwing it, because every time he threw it, Mortensen caught it and countered with the right hand. And that's what I saw out of Brian Mortensen. He was countering everything Carter did. His punches were more crisp. They were landing, and they were power shots too. I mean, I give Carter credit because he's a young kid, and he hung in there. He took a lot of damage in that fight. But then ultimately in the third round, kind of a similar thing, and BMO loaded up on that right and landed it flush, and Carter was out cold. It was almost like slow motion how he went down. And again, we talk about Brian Mortensen becoming a better human being. BMO, the ref didn't get there fast enough, unfortunately. But BMO saw that his opponent was out, and he could have probably landed 2 or 3 shots at least before the ref got there, but he did not. He backed off, and the ref did get in there in time, and stop the fight. So, like I said, a lot of credit to BMO. He's come a long way as a fighter. He's come even further as a human being, so I'm pumped to see what that kid does. I don't know if he'll defend that belt once or not, but he's pretty certainly going to have a successful pro career if he can continue on the path he's on right now. And then next up, 155 title, Alex Wiggs versus Otis Hamilton. And this was a fight that was absolutely dominated by Alex Wiggs in all phases. There were some good scrambles in this fight. There were a lot of good sweeps in this fight, but this was not the Otis Hamilton I have seen. Otis just never was able to get his hands off. He never, like I said, he seemed frustrated by Wiggs' style. I don't think he was trying to load up on a right hand, and Wiggs was punching faster and more crisp and more direct right down the middle, and Wiggs' shots would just get there before Hamilton's big bombs could get there, and that's how a lot of that fight went. It did go into the fourth round, and Wiggs just, like I said, Hamilton, you could see the frustration build round after round, and as Wiggs just kind of picked him apart. And late in the round, Wiggs landed a shot to Hamilton's ribs, and you could see Otis kind of buckle with it in between rounds. You could see he couldn't really breathe. Actually, I think it happened earlier. The first time it hurt his ribs, it was a big blast double by Wiggs. He picked up Otis and slammed him, and you could see on Otis's face that he just winced when he was laying on the ground. He did a good job of just kind of composing himself and figuring it out and got through it. But then he got to his corner in the fourth round and actually had a little throw up in the corner bucket there. And the doc came in and looked at him and was kind of pushing on those ribs, and Otis said he couldn't continue. So Alex Wiggs is your champ, took the belt, and it was a fun fight for a while. It was like I said, there were some good exchanges, there were some good scrambles on the ground, but I saw a couple things too. I don't know if Wiggs or if Hamilton didn't have a great scouting report, but I saw him try a couple, trying lateral drops and just trying throws against Wiggs, who's a judo guy. It's like I wouldn't be trying that stuff against Alex Wiggs, but I don't know. Like I said, good fight. I know Otis is going to bounce back because that dude hits hard. He just never was able to get his shots off on Saturday night. So then moving on to the co-main event of the evening, Ben Strayland and Gemini Strelo. This fight went just as every other Ben Strayland fight did. Ben came out winging bombs, and he is a better... He's developed enough of a wrestling game to sprawl enough and stop those shots, and I think his best asset, like I said, is his strength and his aggressiveness. When guys shoot for takedowns and they put their head down, Ben does enough of a sprawl, enough of a defense to stay standing, and then just starts coming with those clubs of hands that he's got, and that's what he did to Gemini. And man, this is one that I didn't think the ref did a great job either, and that's a problem with 205-pounders in the cage. Someone's going to get hurt, especially against Ben Strayland, if you don't get in there and stop the fight at the right time. And Gemini was down he was trying to single leg takedown, and down, sprawled out, and probably like the second punch just knocked him out cold, and you could see his right hand was laying on the mat because he was out. His left arm was wrapped around Strandland's leg still, just, I think frozen because he was out cold, and the ref didn't see that he was out, and Strandland probably landed 3 or 4 shots that didn't need to be landed, and that was it. That was the end of the fight. Ben Strandland 121 in the first round. He got another knockout win. Like I said, I hope Strelo's okay today. He was down and out in the cage for quite a while. They tried to take him out of the cage earlier than they should have, and he kind of collapsed back to the ground in the cage and was down for another 5 minutes. So, like I said, it's 205-pounders. You don't stop in time. That's kind of dangerous. But Another amazing win for Ben Strandland. I don't know who beats that guy. There's nothing technical about his game. There's nothing hidden about his game. He's just got these friggin' clubs for hands, and good luck stopping it. So, Ben's going to fight for us again in January, and I got to think he's going to go pro. Frankly, he needs to go pro. There's no point in him winning a million amateur fights. We're going to run out of opponents for him anyway. So I think 2015, you're going to see Ben Strandland turn pro, and we'll see how quick that guy gets a shot, because he's certainly marketable. He's got all the tools to be a very good fighter at the next level too. So, and someone mentioned it too to me. I think he's definitely going to be in the running for Amateur of the Year. He's undefeated and finished everybody he's fought this year. So I think Ben is definitely in the running for Amateur of the Year. Speaking of awards, I will put that story up probably Tuesday, calling for nominations for awards, and you'll have about a little over a week to get them in. Hopefully people get their award nominations in this year. Like, we don't want to see like last year where we didn't have a nomination for Coach of the Year. I'm sure we won't this year after I made a little stink about you guys not getting any nominations in for Coach. But anyway, main event of the evening. This was one of the best on paper fights in Minnesota history as far as a main event goes. This was as good as it gets. Chad Curry against Alonzo Martinez, and I'll tell you what, that I have been tooting the Chad Curry horn since day one, and he lived up to all the expectations on Saturday. I don't know that the average fan could understand how big that win is for Chad Curry, because Alonzo Martinez is a badass. I mean, that dude, I remember, I think it was like 2006 when he came up here and beat Travis Brzezinski, and he's good. He's fought everybody. We're talking about a dude who's beat 5 UFC vets, not just fought 5 UFC vets, he's beaten them. And he's smooth. He's a great athlete. He's solid at everything. He's not, I don't know that he's amazing at anything, but he's solid at everything. And I really look, Curry wins this fight, but I think Alonzo Martinez, I don't think any other guy in Minnesota should want to fight that dude. I think he beats, pretty much all of our 155ers. Good luck if you want to take him on. That's up to you. But like I said, Chad Curry, smothering. I mean, that's the only word I can use to describe Chad Curry. Relentless and smothering. He gave Martinez absolutely no room to operate at any point in that fight. Dominated every second of that fight. And in the second round, Curry put him on the ground again and kept him on the ground this time. Martinez did a good job of getting up, but he'd get up and Curry gave him no room. He'd be still right on him with knees, pinning him against the cage. It was literally a flawless performance by Chad Curry. So then in the second round, Curry gets him down again, gets full mount, starts locking up the arm triangle choke. He's got the arm pinned behind the ear, so there's really going to be no defense for Martinez. As soon as Chad kicks over to the side, Martinez is going to go. He's either going to tap or he's going to go to sleep. Well, Chad was still in full mount, and the ref asked Martinez if he was okay. Martinez gives the ref a very clear, everybody cage side saw a very clear thumbs up, and the ref jumped in and stopped it. There's no explanation you can give of why that fight was stopped. It stinks because it was like I said, it was an amazing performance by Chad Curry. He dominated every second of the fight. He's going to win that fight. Like I said, all he needs to do is kick off to the side and the fight's over. But he was it was getting tighter and tighter. He was cinching it up tighter, and that choke was only going to get tighter if, like I said, if he kicks off to the side, the fight's over within a second or two. But it's still, no matter what we say, and like I said, Chad's going to win the fight. He's dominating every second, but nobody deserves to have a fight stopped like that. Not when you ask him if he's okay and he gives you a thumbs up and then it gets stopped. So it's unfortunate. I don't know what's going to happen. It stinks partially because it gives Martinez an excuse. I mean, he got dominated for the whole fight, and now he's got an excuse, and Chad didn't deserve his opponent to have an excuse. But I don't know if that fight will get changed to a no contest. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. We'll probably find out as early as this week what's going to happen with that fight. Either way, no matter what comes of that fight, Chad Curry has his next fight set. He's fighting down in Austin February 13th. I don't know what happens with the Martinez fight, but it's probably irrelevant. Chad's taking on Derek Varon down in Austin in February. If he wins that fight, he will be fighting for a major promotion before the end of the year. The offers are already on the table, so a lot riding on it. And if you want to see Chad Curry fight locally one more time, that's it. That's your last chance. So February 13th down in Austin, come check him out one last time. All right, that's it. That's the whole fight card. There's a lot of fights. It was an amazing night. I mean, everybody did a great job. DJ St. Joe was incredible as usual. Jeremy Bjornberg, you can give him all the crap you want. I know there's people that don't get along with him and whatever, but he does it up big. He puts more money into the production side than any promotion we've ever had in Minnesota. From the video to the lighting to the sound to having quality ring card girls and things like that. Things that I think a lot of fighters take for granted. Down to paying Jesse Kelly. I mean, Jesse Kelly does an amazing job with photos. Jeremy doesn't have to pay Jesse Kelly to be there, but he does, because he wants those professional photos. He feels like you guys all deserve professional video and professional photos, and you shouldn't have to pay for that garbage like you have to with some promotions. But anyway, enough of that rant. So I'm going to give out my awards here real quick. So Fighter of the Night, Pro Fighter of the Night, Chad Curry. There's zero question there for me. Chad was, like I said, that was a flawless fight performance in my opinion. So Chad Curry, Fighter of the Night. Amateur of the Night, BMO Dallas. Again, zero question in my mind that BMO Dallas earned that award. Knockout of the Night. You could have gone with Strandland, but I'm going with BMO just because it was perfect. Submission of the Night, Nate Howe. Fight of the Night, I'm not going to hand out. If I was, it would be Wiggs and Hamilton. That was probably the best fight I saw. Like I said, I didn't get to see them all. But anyway, I'm going longer than I wanted to. 27 minutes, that's too much. But hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoy this format. What we will be doing with this podcast, we'll find different ways to get it out to you. I don't know that we're going to go the iTunes route. I think we'll stay away from iTunes because who uses iTunes anymore? I guess that's my question. Anyway. I can't remember the last time I opened iTunes on my computer or my phone. But anyway, I'll probably find a different format for the podcast. And what I will do, I've got a couple ways that I'm going to use a co-host. Got some adapters that'll work, whether I want to just do it over the phone with somebody or if I want to do it in person. But we'll definitely be adding co-hosts. And it will rarely just be me sitting here talking. I just wanted to get this one out real quick. So you guys had something regarding last night's fights. So look for big changes with the podcast early, and I hope to debut the full thing in January. So anyway, thanks again to our sponsor, Torgy's Live. Awesome bar, awesome food. Oh, I want to mention Taco Loco. Love you guys. That was legitimately last night. That was the first time I've ever actually gotten to have it. It stinks living in Rochester. I can't get to Shakopee very often, but I finally got to have some Taco Loco burritos. You better believe I took 2 for the road as well. Just amazing. If you live in the cities and you like Mexican food and you're not going to Taco Loco, you are wrong. Get there. It's amazing. Anyway, peace out. I don't have any cool catchphrase yet. If you got a good one for me, I'm open to suggestions. But that's been Flying Triangle Radio. Thanks again to Torgy's, and thank you for listening. Talk to you all soon.